Imagine you have a headache. So you go to the doctor, and the doctor looks at your skull and says, "This needs more holes." Welcome to medieval medicine. A world where doctors treated disease using bloodletting, mystery herbs, suspicious liquids, and levels of confidence that should honestly be illegal. And the terrifying part is, these were not even their strangest ideas.
Lord Patrol!
So let's examine medieval medicine, which, to be fair, was built on 3 solid pillars. Number 1, confidence. Number 2, vibes. And number 3, being wrong aggressively. And the wild part is, this wasn't random villagers. This was the official science of the day. So let's talk about why medieval medicine was basically gambling. Except the prize was, you continue existing. Medieval doctors believed your body was controlled by 4 magical liquids called the humors. Blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile. And if you were sick, it meant one of your internal juices was too powerful. Too tired? Too much phlegm. Too angry? Too much yellow bile. Too sad? Too much black bile. Too happy? They'd probably still find a way to blame phlegm. So the goal of medieval medicine was simple: balance the juices. Which leads us to their favorite solution for basically every problem ever: bloodletting. Medieval medicine eventually became deeply fascinated with the idea of removing blood. It became the universal solution to nearly every medical problem. Headache? Remove blood. Fever? Remove blood. Sneezed weirdly? Believe it or not, remove blood. Sometimes doctors use knives. Sometimes heated cups. And sometimes leeches were hired as tiny medical professionals. I do not trust this creature. The logic was surprisingly simple. If illness came from imbalance within the body's fluids, perhaps they stopped moving properly. And by restoring movement, they usually meant bloodletting. The medieval equivalent of turning your device off and on again, except the device is you. Now, how did medieval doctors diagnose illness? One of their favorite ways was staring intensely at your urine. There were charts for urine color. Charts. And sometimes they'd check smell. And sometimes they'd check taste. Yes, taste. So, if you ever feel awkward at a modern medical checkup, just remember it used to be a doctor saying, interesting mouthfeel. You may perish. Treatments were often a mix of herbs, poultices, and I heard this works. Some recipes were actually reasonable. Plants that reduce pain, calm inflammation, help you sleep. But other cures were basically, apply this mysterious paste to your body, and if you survive, leave a 5-star review. And that's the gambling part. Sometimes the remedy helped. Sometimes it did nothing. Sometimes it made things worse. And afterwards, nobody was entirely sure why. Now, we must discuss the one that makes my armor tighten. Trepanation, which is the process of drilling a small hole into the skull. And it was used for things like seizures, headaches, and bad spirits. The idea was that something inside the head was wrong, and making an opening might let it out. Now I know what you're thinking. Surely this was rare. Not always. And somehow, some people survived. Archaeologists have found healed skulls, meaning the bone actually started growing back. Was it brilliant? No. Was it terrifying? Yes. Would I volunteer for such a procedure? Never. Then there's the Black Death. When medicine faced a boss fight it did not understand. no germ theory, no knowledge of bacteria. So people tried to fight disease by smelling good. And that brings us to the famous plague doctor mask. Bad smells were seen as dangerous, so the beak was stuffed with herbs and flowers. The idea was simple. If bad air causes disease, perhaps better air won't. Unfortunately, disease did not care. Now, important pause. It's easy to laugh, but medieval people weren't stupid. They were trying to solve difficult problems with limited knowledge. And sometimes they got things right. Herbal remedies sometimes worked. Hygiene and surgery existed in basic forms. And medical knowledge was being preserved and improved, especially outside Western Europe. So yes, there was real progress. It was just progress with occasional leeches. But here's the uncomfortable part. One day, future humans may look at our medicine and laugh too. Which means the real lesson isn't that medieval medicine was ridiculous. The lesson is that science is a long journey. And thankfully, it keeps moving. Because if it didn't, we'd still be solving headaches with a drill. So if a medieval doctor approaches you holding one, run. This has been a Lore Patrol.
Lore Patrol.
Subscribe and stay undrilled.